action animes have really taken over the media in the past 5 years. And with good reason, too. They're hype. Now the question is, what makes a good fight? Is it the story of the fight? As to why the fight is happening? If that's the case... Oh, wait. Fumbled in the second
World
sentence.
record, dude.
That's a new high. That's the intro. If Demon Slayer, with its as exciting as room temperature water story, is anything to go off of, no, story is kinda a backseat for that show. So by that logic, and using Demon Slayer as our base, because you cannot deny that every fight in that show is class. So it's the visuals, right? That's why Demon Slayer is such a good anime, because visually it is hard to beat, right? Again, no. Blue Lock may not have fights necessarily, but every match is kind of a fight, and dang, those go crazy. You constantly feel on edge. You're like, dude, if Isage loses, it's over. Story's done. Case closed. So, stakes. That's what makes it. Every fight should have stakes. That's what makes them good. That intensity of what happens if they lose is the heartbeat of why the fight is good. For the last time, no, stakes aren't all that matters. One Punch Man is proof of that. The truth is, it's a pyramid of what's important. A good fight needs to have two of these things in order for the third to lack on expectations. So now we just want to go into more detail on what we mean and what fights we think do a good job. And this video is going to be turbo spoiler heavy for these shows. And also, since we don't want to get copyrighted, we're probably going to have mediocre, at best, Marvel vs. Capcom gameplay in the background. So enjoy. Tell us how bad we are.
My Hulk gonna be kind of clean.
Dude, name one MF who don't have a clean Hulk.
Let's start with good examples of visuals. Let's be real, everybody likes things that are pretty, like me. Anyway, our brains are wired so that the little monkey with the symbols starts up when we see something we like. Demon Slayer is the prime example of this. Like, come on, bro. Look at what's going on in the background right now. This is chef's kiss, beautiful. You could really just put any Demon Slayer fight into this category. Just reach to a hat, pick one at random, and you'll have a banger. But by far, the most iconic Demon Slayer fight.
I got Tanjiro versus the one with a lot of hands.
The ball ones.
It's ugly.
But by far, the most iconic of the Demon Slayer fights is, you know, our boys, the Demon Slayers, against Upper Moon 6. This fight technically spans like 6 whole episodes or something, but we're just gonna talk about the important parts, the last episode mainly, because we don't have time to go over every cool moment, unfortunately. But here's the rundown. Our three main characters, along with Sound Hashira, Tengen, Tengen Uzui, are facing their most powerful opponents yet, Gyotaro and Daki, demon siblings and members of the 12. I'm gonna say Kizuki.
Upper Moons.
This means they're mad strong. The problem comes in when they realize that both demons, you know, both extremely powerful on their own.
And Daki wasn't bad. I'm just gonna say.
She kind of got folded.
She got folded by like everyone.
I think I could fold Daki. Though the fight is back and forth for a while, our heroes eventually fall, with Inosuke getting stabbed through the heart, Tengen getting folded off screen like a...
like how I fold my napkin to be a polite lady.
There we go. And Zenitsu getting crushed under some rubble, leaving only Tanjiro, battered and broken, to meet his fate. Just kidding, Tengen is alive, and from this point on, it's the most legendary fights in anime history.
My sound breathing technique!
dub ain't that bad. Much like our heroes, the animation team truly went all out in this episode.
They're at their limit.
The backgrounds, the animations, the visual effects, they all come together perfectly, with each aspect really selling the speed, impact, and scale of the fight. You know, you got the blur of the movements, the environment flying by, showing just how fast these guys are going. The sparks from each strike. The only way to describe this fight is explosive or flashy. Demon Slayer also gets bonus points for the effects on breathing techniques, especially Water and Thunder. They just have this really stark contrast in the background. Always looks cool. Always gives a lot of distinction. Finally, I know this isn't talking about visuals, but the sound design, the score for this scene are just legendary. Like, I know some of you guys have this on the workout playlist. I know I do.
While Demon Slayer may be the most well-known, I think another example that really could be used is Attack on Titan, specifically any fight with Levi. We're going to talk about the female Titan, and why Levi's fights are goated. The fight starts in slow motion, showing both characters' speeds as they travel the forest. Levi's flipping one sword around. The shot holds just long enough for us, the viewers, to be like, what he doing? Then everything picks up in speed, both literally and figuratively, as the female Titan throws the first punch. Both literally and figuratively. She tries to punch him.
Straight up.
Levi pulls one from Sonic's book and spins all the way up her arm. And then this, right here, this is what we're talking about when it comes to vision. The sense of Levi flying at Mach 10 into the female Titan's eyes, and the impact of the damage he just did, as the shot remains in all black except for Levi and the blood. At this point, the fight is over. You can almost feel that by how long the animators choose to keep the shot of Levi removing his hilt, as he left the swords embedded in the Titan's eyes. Visuals are obviously at the forefront of one's viewing expectations, and with so many different art styles and animation techniques, there's always much to appreciate in a good fight scene, and countless ways to improve with subtle yet impactful details.
Moving on from the visuals, let's talk about story engagement, or why the fight is happening. How is this fight pushing the story forward? What are the stakes? How is it affecting the characters? All of these things are possible ways for a fight to be involved in the story, which no anime summarizes this better than Vinland Saga Season 1. Thorfinn versus Askeladd, or Ashlad, or however we're going to pronounce it in this
Or
take.
dude, like, I don't know.
The dude.
Guy whose name means Ashland.
I'll go with Askeladd. Now this quote-unquote fight is actually almost the entire season long, as the first season is just Thorfinn trying to get revenge for his father on Askeladd after he killed him. While they actually crossed blades twice, the second one really wasn't much of a fight. More like a slaughter. Thorfinn, who really hasn't lost yet in the series, gets completely folded like how
I fold my arms when I'm disappointed in my son for not getting the turkey out for Thanksgiving.
Ooh, there we go, folding his arms. And Askeladd doesn't even get scratched while fighting barehanded, no less. This was an absolutely gut-wrenching scene. I mean, you can feel the sting of this loss from Thorfinn as he realizes he completely wasted his life in his pursuit of vengeance. A vengeance he unfortunately can never achieve. In terms of story, this is the peak of Thorfinn's development, because after he loses this, his whole personality changes, and that's how we get the banger that is Season 2 of Vinland Saga. Like, there aren't even many jokes we can make about this one. This one's just sad. Regret.
Now, it is time to talk about the magnum opus of story-driven fights,
There you go.
Zuko versus Azula and Agni Kai. This fight does so many things at once. It does all of them beautifully too, mind you. But the main highlight is showing Zuko's growth, not only as a bender, but as a person. See, throughout the series, Zuko has always far outmatched by his sister, a cold, calculated prodigy. I played the clip where he's talking about Azula and she's like, she was born lucky. I was lucky to be born. As a result of this, along with his exile, his bending was driven by anger, pride, shame, brute force, with no regard for those around him. However, through his travels with the Avatar and his uncle's teaching, Zuko pulls a complete 180 in this fight. First of all, he opts for the 1v1. Dude, run the 1v1, bro.
Run the 1v1.
It's like run the 1v1. Not for some, this is my fight BS, but so that Katara wouldn't get hurt. As the fight begins, we see that Zuko's fighting style is nearly unrecognizable. He is calm, confident, skillful. Meanwhile, Azula is erratic, unhinged, driven mad by her lust for power.
Looking goofy.
She got the bangs. She tried to cut her own bangs. Am I right, ladies?
Hey, up top. That was just me high-fiving myself.
Now, Zuko was kind of dunking on Azula this whole time, so she decides to break the rules of Agni Kai and use lightning, but not on Zuko. She aims straight for Katara, which Zuko, being the goat that he is, jumps in front of it, risking his life for someone who was once an enemy. This fight is not only a highlight on character dynamics, but also it has greater narrative stake than the final fight of the show. I'll say it.
Yeah, honestly.
And a high dose of intensity, making another staple great fight.
Now, the third major aspect that makes up a great animated fight isn't as prominent as the previous two, which means it probably doesn't get talked about a lot, but that does not discount its importance. We're talking creativity. When we say creativity, we're talking cool powers, unique moves, interesting scenarios and circumstances. You could have the greatest animation in the world, like the prettiest stuff available, with the most impactful writing imaginable. But if it's just two guys punching each other, you know, just going back and forth, blow to blow, probably won't make that interesting of a fight. For our first pick, we want to talk about all these guys jumping Shimazaki, old Shim here, in Mob Psycho 100. Even though all these guys technically have like the same psychic powers, they all express them in different, distinct ways, with each character getting moments to shine in the face of a near unstoppable enemy. This dude, I mean, look at this. This dude makes copies of himself. This guy has psychic whips. This girl punches things, but hey, that's cool. Telekinesis, pyrokinesis, teleportation. With so many different people and this many powers on display, it'd be easy for the fight to get messy or just feel like a series of like smaller 1v1s. But no, this, you can tell exactly who's doing what, and everybody gets a chance to shine and contribute. But I'm not gonna lie though, these guys get absolutely trampled. I mean, like folded, like a.
Folded, like I fold my towel after I shower.
Ooh, there we go. Towel, fold like a towel. Still, seeing what would happen with these crazy powers during this fight was genuinely exciting, and just like the amount of property damage that occurred here was insane.
The next fight on the creative theme is from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, Diamonds is Unbreakable. Honestly, any fight from this series could go onto this video, but we're gonna pick Seth's favorite, Josuke versus Kira. These two have completely opposite powers. Josuke's Crazy Diamond has the power to repair anything to a previous state, except for Josuke himself. And Kira's Killer Queen can turn anything it touches into a bomb. Kira also brought his dead cat to work, and because this show is stupid, the cat can create air bubbles that Killer Queen can use to create air bombs. How the fight turns out is Kira making homing air bombs to go after Josuke, while he hides in some random person's home they broke into. Josuke returns fire by taking dried blood and fusing it with glass to make a homing dart to weaken Kira. Like, who TF thinks of this stuff? The last part of the fight is just a semi-standard brawl, with the caveat that Josuke can't get hit, or else it's Jover. You like that? Jover? Jojo?
Though we feel these are the main ingredients that make up a great animated fight, there's a large variety of minor aspects that make up the spices, just sprinkle them on. Let's talk about a few. Balance definitely ups the intensity in a fight. Genuinely feeling like either side could win, good or bad, can really give a nail-biting experience, especially on the first viewing. For an example, we'd like to talk about Batman vs. the Mutant Leader in this random Batman movie nobody talks about. These two are just going blow for blow with some slick animation to boot. Though this aged Batman is outclassed physically, he takes advantage of every trick he knows to even out the playing field, eventually pulling off a win in the end. Just barely. I mean, you really just gotta watch this fight in slow motion to appreciate every little detail of it. I highly recommend it. It's good. It's on YouTube. Go right ahead.
Now that all that good stuff that we were talking about balance is out of the way, nobody cares. Let's talk about when it's one-sided. We're talking when one person completely outclasses the other. Like, there is no hope. No fight does this better than when Goku mixes the Ginyu Force. This fight goes hard because just one member nearly killed Krillin and Gohan, and when Vegeta comes in to save those two, he gets bodied by a single member. Drake, next folding joke? Folding?
Lawn chair. Go.
Oh, folded like a lawn chair. Vegeta's being sit-in. Oh, no! When Goku rolls up and doesn't even bother fighting, just goes to check on his squad, like, he straight up ignores the Ginyu Force. They ain't worth the time of day. When Goku does start to fight, he absolutely folds Recoome.
Folder.
Folder. Ooh, folder like a folder. Holding papers in Recoome. With one elbow to the gut. The guy who nearly got a squad wipe is done in one hit. Man even BMs! He's like, wait, you had an open slot there. I had to hit it. Then Jace and Barter join the brawl like, yeah, we can take him. And Goku doesn't even move for like 5 minutes of round 2. When he does start to move, we the viewers can't even see how fast he's going. Then, the disrespect! Goku just punches Jace, mid-sentence, square in the nose. The next move may be one of the cleanest in anime. Goku blocks 2 hits at once, launches one guy, trips the other, then lets out a huge blast repelling both. After a little bit of dialogue, the baddies unleash a team move that Goku deflects by yelling at it. When the fight finishes when Goku dodges all of their attacks, making them look goofy by making them hit each other, and finish us off Berter in 3 hits. All this, and Goku is untouched! The KO!
Speaking of group fights, fights involving 3 or more people for the uninitiated or those without friends, each individual getting moments to shine is always appreciated. Especially when you take into account just how tough it is to storyboard and animate multiple people fighting on screen at once. But take this fight in Invincible for example. In one corner, we got Invincible himself, Titan, and later the Guardians of the Globe roll up. And in the other corner, we've got a bunch of D-list villains. I don't know these guys' names.
I like the one guy who has a squid in his belly button.
Call him Jerry. And of course, the team carry, the GOAT, Battle Beast.
Dude, does this count as a group fight? It's kind of just an Invincible Titan guys versus Battle Beast.
Just, I don't know how they did it, but with so many people, each with different powers and weapons and personalities, everyone gets their time in the spotlight. Like, you got Robot locking to save Monster Girl, Battle Beast folding Invincible, just the whole thing just comes together with so many cool moments. And like, this is probably my favorite fight in the show. Like no one cares about Omni-Man versus Invincible. Fan service and hype bait, used wisely, mind you, can also be a great way to make a fight memorable, particularly for long-time viewers and, you know, fans of the media and the series. These moments are where you get your anime screams from, the iconic anime screams. Those things we are just ever so fond of. This is also where you'll get your hand-tailored character moments, an old face returning to battle unexpectedly, a callback or reference to a past scene, your character pulling off a skill, move, or technique you didn't think possible. There are just so many ways to go about it, and as long as it's not overused, these moments can take a fight from great to legendary. Fights don't even have to be physical. In a non-traditional way, we consider Death Note brain battles as anime fights. Clashes in intellect, ideologies, and wit are just as valid as any other fight, and can be just as entertaining, if not more in some cases.
Alright guys, you remember when you were in like high school and your English teacher made you wrap up all your points in one paragraph? Yeah, we're doing that, but it's like 10 paragraphs. We got 2 fights. The meat riding hat is back on. We're talking about Isaac again. 2 videos in a row.
I'll go watch that one.
That'd be better. This fight has all the points we wanted to highlight in our major aspects. That being story, creativity, and visuals. If you guys haven't seen our Isaac video, shameless plug. He already plugged it before. Look at that. We got 3 shameless plugs now.
Looking like a power strip right now. Hey!
For those that need a reminder, though, this is a huge moment for Isaac's character and motivation. Isaac is killing Carmilla due to the fact that he sees her as a threat to the world as a whole, and not to get revenge on her for playing a hand in Dracula's death. The stakes are so high in this fight, as Carmilla is potentially a planet-wide threat if left unchecked. Visually, words really can't do this fight justice, but we're gonna try. Obviously, the animation is slick and beautiful as it comes, but what we want to highlight is the blending of 3D backgrounds with the 2D characters, which is something that can be a bit risky in animation, as well as the reflection of the action in the blood literally pooling on the floor. The creativity in this fight is peak. Slick moves, awesome weapons, special technique. Carmilla's using that MF and vampire dash ability and some crazy blood powers. Isaac doesn't mess around with the "this is my fight" trope and just jumps Carmilla with his night creatures. And while we're on the subject of night creatures, shout out to Abel for being the GOAT of this fight and saving Isaac's skin on multiple occasions. This fight is top quality, but there might just be one that's even better. Maybe.
Astute viewers will notice that one particular anime is not on this list, despite its goated status. It's time for JJK, baby, Jujutsu Kaisen, and specifically, Mahito vs. Yuji and Todo. The background of this fight is crazy. Yuji, our boy, the GOAT, just watched one of his mentors die. And while trying to keep a level head while fighting Mahito, Mahito hits what is effectively a mental critical hit by killing, quote unquote, she ain't dead, we know that, one of Yuji's best friends. All hope is lost.
Oh no!
Mahito hits a black flash.
Huh?
Do you know curses could do that? Yuji has stopped fighting. He's down for the count. We got 1, 2, 3. Mahito's gonna get the TKO. Mahito's yapping at war. He gonna kill my guy. Somebody, anybody save Yuji. But out of nowhere, Off screen, we hear a clap and Yuji is gone. The fight has changed with the appearance of one Todo. After Todo starts giving smoke to Mahito, Yuji is back into play. Honestly, that's really all we need to say about this fight.
End the video. Cut to credits.
But no, we want to gas up some specific scenes from this fight. For starters, Todo throws Yuji to take the fight underground, and Mahito just splits apart and jumps him. Hype.
That's all you need to say. It's hype.
Next up, Todo flying through the air, monologuing about how much he loves Yuji, hitting what is probably one of the most flashiest Black Flashes ever hit to deal literally 0 damage to Mahito. And the penultimate scene we are talking about in this fight is Todo's final switch with Mahito. After a completely normal scene where nothing happens, Todo claps Mahito's hand to switch places with them, and Yuji is letting out this black flash, another one, to catch Mahito off guard.
Another!
Finally, Todo comes in with the hardest mix-up ever. Like, he effectively broke Mahito's ankles with this one, except not in basketball. And this makes Mahito look mad goofy in the process, and allowing Yuji to completely body Mahito with a black flash that he just manifested, going against every rule in the show that we know of. This fight also holds a lot of story significance for Yuji's character, since, Yuji and Mahito are rivals. They hate each other. Perfect opposites in ideology. Yet also two sides of the same coin. I mean, these two are just arch nemesis. The desperation of this fight, the loss of his comrades, the potential loss of more, all push him to go beyond his limit, getting out of the whole I want to die mentality, and eventually leading to Mahito's defeat. Truly one of the greatest anime fights in years, and it's a privilege that we got to see this released live in real time in our timeline, dude. It's just amazing.
Obviously, there's tons of fights we still want to talk about. But if we did, this video would be entirely too long. Jake's already going to have to spend 24 hours in the lab.
I'll be looking like one of the Mappa animators, dude.
These were just some of our favorites, and us trying to put into words why we love them. And it's crazy to think that there will be animated fights in the future that top these some days. Anyways, that's all we got for now. Go watch these shows.